So today we look at the Italian heavy tanks, and in particular we'll play the Bisonte C45 for some gameplay. We'll go through all of the statistics of the vehicles in game and definitely outline the one problem I have on World of Tanks console with these Italian heavy tanks and just how competitive they are and just realistically how they'll play in game. Of course, we've gone over a few different things about the tanks, but of course today's video is actually looking at them within the game. So first things first, we'll look at the statistics of the vehicle, and there's one noticeable statistic in the bottom left hand corner that is awful. You have a huge, and I mean a huge, reload time with these tanks. Of course, they get the auto reloading mechanic whereby the first shell takes the longest to reload, then the second takes the second longest, and then the third shell takes the quickest amount of time to reload. Now, that means that if you save up all your shots within the clip, then basically you can use it as a single shot in its most effective form when you fire just that one shell out of the 3-clip magazine when you're fully reloaded. So yes, you kind of have that trade-off. Do you want to fire all of them and then have a huge reload to reload all 3 and then you can single shot it, or you can pump them all out in one go? Or do you want to use it as a single shot gun with the ability on those occasions where you get caught out in the open and you're going to get taken out anyway? You may as well use all 3 of your shots. Now, for the most part, within the gameplay later on, we kind of showcase exactly what I mean by getting those shots out when you need to, and obviously deciding when to wait and when to actually reload fully. We'll kind of go over that within the actual mechanics. As far as the setup of these Italian heavy tanks, they're all pretty much the same. They all have the same mechanic. They all have the kind of same characteristics. You've got fairly okay view range if you put on some advanced optics. Yes, it's not going to be super light tank. It's a heavy tank at least. So yeah, you can have okay view range. You're not going to be able to outspot mediums and some light tanks, but for the most part you will outspot quite a few heavies if you put on advanced optics. And of course you want that advanced loading because getting as much DPM in this thing is the most important thing you could possibly do, as well as having the gun stabilizer to just improve that accuracy. Yes, you could swap out advanced optics for ventilation to get that DPM increase, only slightly though. Or additionally, you could go for speed or something like that, but for the most part you'll probably want to be sticking with all of these 3 equipment. Of course, make sure that you got some premium rounds loaded in this thing, and all of the Italian heavies, because you don't want to be bouncing shells that took you 17 to 20 seconds to reload. Of course, that's going to be a big problem in a tank like this, and when you don't get the opportunity to pump out as much damage as often, then you're going to want to make sure that every single time you were hitting an opponent, it is going through and that you're not getting RNG'd out of the game. Now, skills, of course, it's your traditional heavy tank. This is my light tank crew by the looks of it in this one, or at least my medium tank crew, because it's the only one I have for the Progetto. But in terms of the perks we'll go through, obviously you want 6th Sense, although some of you say that using heavy tanks you don't necessarily need 6th Sense, but for me, I think there's so many scenarios in late games and in those carry situations where 6th Sense is even super crucial in a heavy tank. Yes, for the most part you'll be up close and personal and you'll be spotted anyway and you'll know that you're spotted, but for those occasions where you're not, then I think that I'd rather have 6th Sense. Then, of course, Born Leader, crucial one again. They're pretty much 2 crucial perks. You shouldn't really even have the option, they should just be in the game already. And then Rapid Loading, of course, to get the DPM, you want that as much as possible. Then you want probably Snapshot and Steady Aim, because that just improves the accuracy once again. Then you might want to take Off-Road Driving, or optionally, you may want clutch braking, because that just basically means you can turn quicker and you won't be affected by the terrain as much, so you'll be more mobile, at least in the majority of situations, compared to if you don't take them. You could go for the camo and spotting build that I've gone for, but you probably don't want to in this tank. It's only because I'm playing in the Italian mediums at the moment. So yeah, if you're playing the heavies, don't use concealment, because for the most part you'll never really get to use it that well. Maybe you want to take Mark Target just to make sure that you have the upper hand, and of course taking Track Mechanic is super useful for repairing your track speeds by 25%. So there are the kind of key kind of ones that you want to be having a look at, and to be honest they're kind of the order that you want to go in as well. So those are kind of the key perks that you may want to take. Of course everyone's different. Some of you may want to take Deadeye, some of you may want to take things like Trick Driving, but you know, for the most part, they're not going to be that situational, or they're going to be very situational and not going to get the most enjoyment out of them when you pick your tank. Now, of course, make sure you put camouflage on any tank that you're going to be playing heavily, because you get an extra concealment bonus when you put on camo. So for those of you that don't know, if you put on camouflage, it does actually affect your camo within the game, so you'll have slightly better still concealment than any other tank without it. So yeah. There we go. Of course, consumables, my traditional large repair kit, small med kit, enhanced rations. You could take fuel boost, you could take a fire extinguisher, but it is completely down to you. And for me, I don't mind spending the extra 20,000 on this, rather than just spending it on a fire suppressor, which I don't really care about if I get set on fire. It's just one of those things that happens every now and again. And yes, you could have avoided it, but in the 20 other games that you didn't get set on fire, then yeah, you can pretty much make it up. Yeah, of course, there we go. Bisonte, into the gameplay now. We'll talk about how you can actually play the Italian heavies like right within the game, and making sure that you know how to play the Italian heavies on World of Tanks console, because they are slightly different to PC, they've got slightly different statistics, and you want to make sure that you're using the best parts of them, which are the turret armor. As you can see, they tend to get this better turret armor, the spaced armor on it, and you can basically actually bounce some shots. Now, don't mean to say that you won't ever get penned in the turret and that you won't ever get penned, but what it does allow is so that you can actually bounce a couple of shots when you hold down, and when they can only see your turret, you can't hit the cupola, because you know you're going to be like this, using the gun depression, which you do get, I believe, 10 degrees of gun depression, which is really, really nice. And so you can use ridge lines really well with this. Poke up, take your shot, or unload your clip depending on which way you want to do it, and then of course you can back down the hill and then just poke, pretending that you have shells in your magazine, or just making sure that they don't aggressively push over the hill to try and take you out, and kind of bait them into thinking that you don't have any shells left. And so our first game is here on Mines. Of course, this is quite a small map, and certainly one that, you know, heavies can do okay on, but they're not necessarily one of the more prioritizing classes, or at least because you kind of need a bit of mobility to get up into that central spot at the beginning of the game, which is the key dominant spot on Mines, to be able to basically influence the game to the best of your ability. Yes, you can use some other positions. Yes, you can go over to the right hand side of the map, where you can use that kind of rock to remain unavoidable or avoidable from all of the actual medium tanks that are pushed onto the hill. And of course, make sure that you just basically avoid getting hit by artillery as well, because Mines is predominant for getting artilleried, because yeah, it's quite a small map, they don't have long lead times, and yeah, with the accuracy buffs that actually happened in update 6.0 on Wot Console, then I guess you can definitely get hit more often and more frequently, and just overall just have some horrible games. So, what can you see me doing here? Well, I'm just trying to avoid getting hit at the moment. That's because we are on this hell of a reload, and what you can see as we reload is that the reload time gets less and less with the amount of shells that you have in the magazine. So one shell, I will have maybe a 16-second reload. The next one, I may have a 14-second reload, and then the final one have about a 12-second reload before we have to be fully stocked on our ammunition. Now, what do you see me doing here? Instead of just firing straight away like we could have done, we wait the extra 1 or 2 seconds until we're fully reloaded, because if I'd fired there, it would have reset the reload back to 0, and then we would have had to reload for, 16 seconds instead of waiting just that 2 seconds extra to put out that extra shell. So that's what you've got to think about as well when you're playing in these autoloaders is, yes, you might be able to have 2 shots out right now, but if I wanted to hit this guy, it is worth waiting that extra 3 or 2 seconds before I pull around, before you put in some damage. And you'll see me put 1 into him there, and then we can now reload using our pretty long reload. And of course, dish out as much DPM within the game as quickly as possible, because trust me, the DPM on these tanks is pretty awful. We get hit in the back there from the VKD, uses the rock there to kind of go back behind cover, which is obviously a good play by him. I have no way of actually getting a shot on him, which is really, really annoying, but I guess that is kind of a good play by him, and so yeah, we can't really do very much from this position. I do in a minute get very bored of just sitting around not doing anything, so we're going to move up aggressively. Yes, there's a Chrysler K there, yes there is a VKD, yes I know there's a Tiger 2 down over to my left, and of course we spot a T-32 that's just sat there. We're aiming, make sure that you fully aim in this tank, because trust me, if you don't fully aim and you waste one of those shells, you've got a long reload to wait to be able to put another one back into the magazine for you to be able to get that damage back. Now, yes, I know there's a Tiger 2 behind me, but I am just trying to kind of gauge where everyone is. And of course, whilst we're reloading, it wouldn't be any use looking at him anyway. Now that we are reloaded, however, what we do have the opportunity to do is now kind of wait, assess the options. Do I want to reload a full clip, or do I just fire anyway? Well, you'll see what I do here. We're waiting until one of them is reloaded back in the clip, and I can put one into the Tiger 2. We decide not to go straight away with that shell because he pulls right back, and so now we're just kind of waiting. Of course, we've reloaded half of the clip, so we may as well just wait the extra couple of seconds. We pop the enhanced combat rations, which allows us to boost the reload speed of our tank and the accuracy and basically everything of your tank by, I think it's an extra 10%, and hopefully, just hopefully, we get the win, which we do. We pick up a nice win, a nice amount of damage, a nice base XP, and also some nice spotting slash tracking damage within the bisonte. And of course, that's kind of how you want to play it. Don't go full on in. It's more of like a support heavy. You're certainly not going to be able to brawl with anyone because your DPM is that bad. 3,266 damage, 1,551 assisted, meaning that we got around about 4.8k damage total, which is actually quite nice. Of course, we picked up 2 enemies destroyed within the game, and we blocked 240, and key thing about the bisonte is, yes, you can earn credits, 149,742 credits earn that game, which means that, yes, this is a great money earner. The second map here is on Overlord. Of course, this is one of the newer revamped maps that Wargaming did a couple weeks ago that have came into the game, and we're basically going to have a look at some of the cool positions that you can use and the sort of thing you want to be doing on this map. Of course, you guys may have seen the complete map guide that I did in my previous video, and if you want to check that out, then you can do. I will try and leave it in the comment section down below, because I can pin a comment there and maybe I'll link it with a couple of different things like guides and stuff that are relevant to this video, and of course the armor layout of the tanks and stuff like that, just looking at how you can actually play them, the Italian heavies that is. And yeah, I think that what I'm trying to do is just basically build up some guides on the channel for various different kind of aspects of World of Tanks console, so that you basically have the best opportunity to maybe get better. Of course, I am not the world's best World of Tanks console player. I have a decent win rate, you know, I'm looking at 61% win rate right now. Yes, I do have a decent WN8 as well, so I guess if you want to take those kind of indicators, then yes, I guess I am a good player. But what I am trying to focus on is basically just enabling you to have the best opportunity to get better within the game and make the right decisions at the right time. You see, what I see here is that a lot of our teammates are backing off. They're trying to run away from this flank. If we run away, we are left in a horrible position, and it's definitely not a place you want to run away from, because what happens is, yes, you can get away, but then you get flanked by both the middle and the right hand side. And so taking this position, telling my teammates that they should probably come and help me, because I am going to try and defend this corner, will enable us to actually have some decent games. Now, we've had a good one so far. Of course, the enemy team made a bit of a misplay there, that both of them came round the corner and weren't expecting that our whole flank decided to turn around again and face them up front. And personal, Now, we've got up into this position, which is nice because we can use the gun depression to be able to get some gun depression down on that guy, and we are always trying to aim for the tracks when we can to be able to get some assistance damage, which helps on your marks of excellence, which of course is probably some of your kind of goals, especially if you're a player that's got a lot of tier 10s, you're not really grinding the game and you're trying to just find that extra bit of things to do within World of Tanks console. Then definitely this thing is a way to do that, making sure that you're going for marks of excellence. Yes, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Yes, you may not be able to get 3 marks, you may not be able to get 2 marks, but it's always that like progression and the ability to grind something that is hard, and the award at the end of it is always really satisfying in the form of those 3 marks or the 2 marks or the 1 mark or whatever you're going for. Then yes, it is kind of satisfactory, or at least you have a little bit of fun. Now, what you see there on the M46, I know that there's quite a few tanks down here, so I'm not reloading all of my I didn't fire that one, even though I could have, because I wanted to reload fully, and we made a misplay there. I fired literally like 0.1 of a second away from reloading, and so we didn't even reload the shot, and we just wasted about 10 seconds of our time. No matter, we didn't actually get the damage anyway. So what we can do now is just fully reload. I pop the enhanced combat rations once again. Make use of enhanced combat rations. Remember, you don't pay for it every single time that you use it, you just pay for it when you start the game. If you've got it equipped, then that's how much it costs, 20,000. If you have it equipped, yes, it's a lot, but you can make it back, especially if you're playing in a premium tank. And yeah, I think it's definitely worth it for me, at least. Someone that doesn't really have an issue with the money within the game, because I could just play some premium tanks and I don't really have a problem with that. But yeah, definitely something you should look at if you want to be able to actually to earn some credits, because I think people complain about the credit earn and the credit drain. At least I know it's not that bad on World War II. You don't really spend that much. It's just when you have to purchase multiple tanks at one time, when you're grinding through multiple lines and it's costing you 3 million, 1 million, 6 million here and there, and it kind of drains you that way. But for the most part, you're not going to actually be drained of credits too much. Not like the Cold War mode, if you know what I mean. 1 million for a gun. Yeah, disgusting. Don't know why that is. But then again, this game we managed to pick up a victory, of course, for the decent amount of damage that we did. It's nothing particularly special, but it is 2.8k damage and a little bit of assistance, 676. Managed to block nearly 1,100 damage that game, so that was a lot better, and we picked up a nice amount of silver as well. So if you're interested in making some silver, of course, make sure that you find yourself a premium tank. If you have one, there's plenty of them that come out for free, and then you can just grind them pretty much. There's been loads. Most of mine I haven't paid for. I haven't paid for pretty much a premium tank in a long time, probably since I bought a tier 6, which was the Snakebite, I think, but that was only like, what, a 5 or something like that. They come out all of the time. Most of the ones you can see here, well, in fact, all of them are free for me. I've picked up a couple out of keycards from the long haul event from just playing the game, and I think the only key thing that you want to have to pay for is probably premium time, and I think that that's the most worth thing in the game if you're going to pay some money. And then of course it's a premium tank, and then probably you don't really need to spend any more money on the game then for at least a year. I wouldn't recommend purchasing premium time in days of 30 because they're pretty expensive, but I guess if you wait until Black Friday and you purchase a year's worth of premium for about 12,000, it's much better. That's what I usually do every year. So yeah, that's just something for you to know if you weren't already and you're looking to get some more silver, if you're a new player, and of course many of you already do have premium time, and I'm just talking everything that you already know. Now, how did you think the Bisonte games go? Were they good? Were they not up to standard? Do you want to see higher damage games? I'm not entirely sure. I will try my best. They were just a couple of games. I think I've probably played about maybe 6 games in the Bisonte. That was just a couple of them to kind of showcase what the tank is like, and of course what the Italian heavies are like within the game. Obviously, if you played the Italian heavies, have you played the Rinoceronte? Have you played the Progetto 56? Please let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll get a little bit of a discussion going as to the Italian heavies. Are they actually worth playing within World of Tanks? Because Currently right now, I'm not got a good impression of the tech tree ones, and I don't think I'm going to be spending my time grinding towards them when there's tanks like the 430U that I haven't got yet, and I think that that would be much more of a tank that I actually want within the game. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video today. Of course, thank you for reaching this point in the video. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, if you've got any comments that you want to make on Update 6.0, if you want to make any comments on the Italian heavies, then of course leave them in the comment section down below. Please try not to use foul language because YouTube basically blocks them. I have to then review them, and sometimes it can be days before I get to actually review them and then accept them and approve them or whatever. So if you keep it clean, then I'll be able to see your comments straight away without having to go on my PC and then approve loads of different comments. So if you can do that, that would be much appreciated, and you're more likely to get a reply quicker, basically. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's watched this video, and of course the channel members for giving that little bit extra towards the channel and enabling me to make more videos and just be able to help out you guys as much as possible. Other than that, hope you have a great rest of your day once again, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.